Why, hello, welcome to Tuesday's Capstone. Um, Today we are going to continue taking notes on videos or articles and then adding what those facts make us think. We're just going to practice it one more time. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to show you a few examples of students' Padlets from yesterday so you can see what it should look like. And I'm going to have a little video check in here somewhere. Okay? Somewhere there's going to be a little clue that you have to post about. All right. So what we worked on yesterday was taking notes and then at the end thinking about what those notes cause you to think. So remember our steps. I'm going to do a video again today. So you watch the whole video without stopping. Then you watch it a second time, and this time you do stop, but you just think. You hit pause and you go, oh. And then at the end, you write 3 to 5 things that you think are the most important to remember. And as you're writing those things down, you might need to rewind the video to get the facts straight. And at the very end, in all caps, you're going to write your opinions or thoughts. So these facts make me think this, okay? So today's video, this debating slavery, I took it from that PBS source. So if you remember your test drive, it was one of the links called PBS Learning Media down here for students. This is an awesome site. It has so many like websites, these like scavenger hunts, videos, all kinds of things that are meant for students, and they're like in shorter chunks. So and it has most of your topics. This is a great thing for you to check out. So it's from PBS Learning Media. But anyway, let me get to my notes. So I know that the first thing I need to do is watch the video without stopping. So you're going to watch it with me, okay? And I'm going to do exactly what I want you doing today. And remember, there's a video check somewhere.
In 1780, Pennsylvania lawmakers ruled that all black children born in Pennsylvania from that year forward were to be freed at age 28. In 1783, Massachusetts outlawed slavery entirely based on a state constitution that declared all men are born free and equal. Connecticut and Rhode Island soon followed with gradual emancipation acts. There was no greater division in the nation than the one that lay between the states that had begun to abolish slavery and those that had not. In 1787, representatives from 12 of the 13 states met in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, for a constitutional convention. Delegates voiced great concern over the protection of individual liberties and personal property. For Southern delegates, one of the most important liberties was the right to own slaves. While they wanted a federal government that would protect their rights, they did not want a governing body that would emancipate their slaves.
The problem is this notion that the pursuit of happiness is tied to property. So even though Thomas Jefferson is able to say all men are created equal and endowed by their creator with inalienable rights, these rights include the right of property. As strongly as people might adhere to the notion of liberty and freedom, they adhere just as strongly to the notion of property.
So the first time you just watch the video and you kind of make sense of it, right? And you're kind of taking it in. And then your second step is you watch it a second time and stop after something important. So I'm going to do that a couple stops. I'm not going to redo the whole video, but I want you to see when I take notes, I truly do watch something twice. I do take all of this time because there's a difference between just getting this activity done, and there's a difference between actually learning and thinking about what you're watching or reading. Okay. So I'm going to start playing it and I'm going to stop when something important.
In 1780, Pennsylvania lawmakers ruled that all black children born in Pennsylvania from that year forward were to be freed at age 28. In 1783, Massachusetts outlawed slavery entirely based on a state constitution that declared all men are born free and equal. Connecticut and Rhode Island soon followed with gradual emancipation acts. There was no greater division in the nation than the one that...
This seems like a big thing. The fact that around the 1780s, a bunch of northern states
emancipation
started outlawing slavery, right? They started emancipating or freeing slavery. To me, that seems like an important part. So that's what you do in step 2.
There was no greater division in the nation than the one that lay between the states that had begun to abolish slavery and those that had not.
That's another thing I think is important about this video, and we've read it before, that there became a great division between the North and the South over slavery, right? So that's what you do. You watch your video once, and then the second time you stop and just be like, oh, that's important. Oh, yeah. Okay? And then once you're done with that, it's time to take notes. Okay? And we might have to rewind here to figure out exactly how to write things down, but we'll get to that. So I go to the 3 dots, and I'm going to click on Edit Post. Gotta get this out of the way. Okay, so I think the first thing was that first stop I made, right? Like that in the 1780s, right? 1780s. So you remember this is step 5.
Slavery entirely based on...
In the 1780s, some northern states began to end slavery. And then I think we could also say that like the debate or the fight over slavery began to divide the North and or should we say like the northern and southern states. All right. And then I think a big part, wasn't it, that
the one that lay between the states that had... In 1787, representatives from 12...
So yeah, in 1787 is when they made the Constitution. Now the Constitution is our like main, it's like what all of our laws are based off of. And it's like, all men are created equal. That's what the Constitution is, right? It's like our whole country is based on the Constitution. And that was written in 1787. So I'm just going to first make that as a fact. Like the Constitution was written in 1787. And they wanted it to show that they wanted the Constitution to protect everyone's rights, just like we read about human rights and children's rights. The Constitution was meant to protect everyone's rights. That's the whole point. But the southern states didn't want anyone to take away there, and they called it a right. I'm not using that word. I think it's disgusting. Their ability to have slaves. Man, this stuff is just wild, guys. It's so wild to like read about this history and just like, oh. Okay, so now I have done all of my steps, right? I watched the whole video without stopping. I watched it a second time and I stopped when something was important. At the end, I wrote 3 to 5 things. I even rewound a little bit to get like the facts straight. But now in all caps, I have to write my opinion or thoughts. So this is so important. And it's going to help you when you write a response later in the week. But it also just helps you like take, because you're writing just facts that you learned, right? But now you're taking it and like you're putting it into your body, you're putting it into your mind, you're making it partially yours. So let's see, like, what does this make me think? 1780s, some northern states began to end slavery. The fight over slavery began to divide the northern and southern states. The Constitution was written in 1787. The Constitution was meant to protect everyone's rights, but the southern states didn't want anyone to take away their ability to have slaves. Ugh. One opinion this makes me have is I think, and I had said this before, but I think that slavery, and remember we're going to put our opinion in all caps, continued for so long because southern states were greedy and cared more about money than people. I don't know how you can say that's not true, right? But that's my opinion. It doesn't say that in the video. It never says that southern states cared more about money than people. It never said that. But those facts certainly make me think that that's what you're doing. And then the other thing I want you to say is, or the other thing it makes me say is like the words of the Constitution, all men are created equal. Well, I believe those words. I think in the beginning when they were written, they were kind of a lie. They wrote this Constitution, all men are created equal, blah, 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 blah. They all have rights. But they didn't follow it. They had people as slaves. So that might be a little controversial for me to say that, but like originally the Constitution didn't really follow what it promised, right? It said all men are created equal, but it certainly didn't treat everyone equal. So that's what you're doing. You are learning these facts and you're just writing them. You're being slow and taking your time. And then you're thinking, what do these facts make you think? And you're putting that in all capital letters. So in your post today, okay, so this part's very important, guys. A lot of you have not been following my instructions for posting, and it makes my life so difficult to check your work and help you. So I want you to watch my video. I want you to use my steps to take notes and add opinion. Then in the comments section, I need you to write the article or video you took notes on. This is so I know what video or article to go check. Otherwise, there's like 500 of them, and I can't do all of those for all of you every day. I can only check one. And then finally, under your article, I want you to write, what was one of my opinions about my article? And that's my video check. That's how I know you watched my video and you took care and you got to this point and you were at that point. That's just my way of knowing that you did your work. Okay, thank you so much.